Hello guys, good morning. It's Monday and 2022 and June. Yeah, so because I haven't do a shadowing for a very long time, so this morning before I go to work, I would like to do some shadowing, stuff. Okay, without further, let's do it now.
Mr.
Today, yeah, I forgot. Today I'm gonna do a shadow is about JD Vance addressed his past comments about Donald Trump. It's quite like he's critical about Donald Trump, and people asking him why he turns to his perspective on Donald Trump. Yeah, I think it's really interesting and ironic. Yeah, let's look at it.
Vice President, in your new
Mr. Vice President, in your new
book,
book,
Communion, you write about
community. I don't know what's about the title here, but about sharing deep faith.
Communion.
Community. Okay, community.
your personal
You write about your personal
evolution with faith,
evolution
even
with the faith. I really don't understand faith meaning.
Faith.
Faith. Faith.
evangelical,
From evangelical
Evangelical to atheist.
to atheist,
evangelical to atheist,
to Catholic.
Sure. To Catholic, to convert,
Convert.
convert,
Dot
convert.
is
It's Catholic convert.
And you also explain your
And
evolution
you also explain your evolution
similarly on Trump,
on Donald Trump,
from calling
calling
him
him
America's Hitler
American's Hitler
to America's best hope.
to America's best hope,
Now, as someone who has
Now, someone who
admitted to chasing
admitted to
ambition,
to chasing ambition. Let me keep figure. Chasing ambition, trying to hard to get the big goal.
chasing
What's the
ambition.
read about in
Which you read about in the book
in the past. But just as your faith
But now since your faith
back to your
brought you back to your priorities.
I have to kind of use
As you can use your own words.
that sit with me from
Let's say with me from 2016.
fellow Christians.
So for Christians,
Everyone is watching.
everyone is watching.
We apologize
when we apologize for
this
this
man. Lord help us.
Lord help us.
And I think about that all.
And I think about like all
as a
the
fellow
time
Christian,
as a fellow Christian.
that is something that weighs on my heart.
That is something that weighs on my heart, weighs on my heart. It makes me feel sad.
Weighs on my
The
heart.
bad news weighs on my heart, weighs on my heart.
As I watch this country,
As I watch this country,
the leadership at the top, because
and the leadership at the top, and the leadership at the top.
it's also something I have to explain to my kids.
Because it also is something I have to
Kids,
explain.
which I know we all
kids,
associate.
which I know all we also
Share
share
this idea that our
greatest
privilege and responsibility
and responsibility
are these young people
we're
raising.
So
So help me find the
help me find
words to explain
my
children what they're witnessing.
what they're witnessing, what they're witnessing,
What they're witnessing.
what they're witnessing right now. What they're witnessing right now. What they're witnessing right now.
Well,
Well,
first
you
of
know,
all,
first of all-
it's been well covered.
First of all, it's been covered.
That
It's been well covered.
I was a critic of Donald Trump
I was a critic of
back in
Donald
2015,
Trump back in 2015, 2016.
Now, obviously, I'm sitting here as the
Now, obviously, I'm sitting
Vice
here
President of the United States
as the Vice President of
in-
the United States
in the Trump
administration.
Well, Joy, a little humility.
Well, joy, a little, a little humility.
Actually, I think that when you make
I think that we make predictions on
and
those
those predictions turn out
and those predictions turn out to be
false,
false.
you got to ask yourself,
You got to ask yourself,
what made me wrong about that?
what made me wrong about that? What made me wrong about that?
What did I not understand
What did I not
and or not
understand?
appreciate?
I'll not appreciate.
For example, I said that Donald Trump's
Economic policies
would not lead
to
wage growth.
Wage growth.
They did in the first term.
They did in the first.
That was
term.
actually a big
That was actually a
major thing.
major thing.
I said that we couldn't bring back
I said we couldn't bring back. I said we couldn't bring back any of
jobs
those
because I
factory
couldn't
jobs because
given
I
in
kind of had given
this idea
into this idea
that those jobs were disappearing.
that those jobs were disappearing.
But actually, Donald Trump saw manufacturing
you saw manufacturing
boom during that administration.
during that administration.
So there's a certain
there's a certain point.
so there's a certain point. Let me just
Let me just
so there's a certain
There's a certain point
You say,
where you say,
I made predictions
I
about
made predictions about
this.
this.
I ended up being wrong.
I ended up being wrong.
And in politics and anything,
And in politics and
I
anything,
think it's important to say, you know what?
and I think it's important to say, you know
I
what?
got some things wrong,
I got some things wrong,
and I was wrong about him.
and I was wrong about him.
He was a very successful president. It's one of the
And he was a very successful president.
reasons why I've been
That's one reason I have
supportive
been supportive of him.
The book
But you go on in the book.
to
You
explain
explain
that good policy
that good policy
was maybe one of your
was maybe one
justification.
justifications.
Justifications.
Maybe one of your justifications. Maybe one of your justifications.
But the quote, and when you
But the quote and when you
tweeted that
tweeted
or X'd it, was not about policy.
was not about policy.
It was what Christians were willing
It was what Christians
to excuse.
were willing to excuse.
And that's the part I
That's the part
can't get past.
I can't get past.
What are you willing to
What are you willing to
excuse in the name of
in the name of power? What are you willing to excuse in the name of power? What bad things are you ready to forgive because someone has a power? Oh, I see. What are you willing to excuse in the name of power?
well,
Wow.
I would say
Well, I would say
fundamentally that
fundamentally,
one of the things I
underappreciated
about Donald Trump
about
is that so many of the things
is that so many of the
that
things
people
that
said about him weren't actually true. Again, you talk about humility.
Again, you talk about humility.
Okay, so I see Donald Trump.
So I see
a clip of him, right?
I see a clip of
I see not even a
I'll see not
clip
even
of him, but reporting about something that he said. And I take it at face value.
And I take it as say.
For example, let's just go back to
for example, let's go back to
one of the most
controversial
things Donald Trump said during the first term that I was wrong during the first campaign is that I was led to believe by the stories. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists.
Rapists. I read a story. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists.
He never said that. What he said is that certain South American countries, Central American countries were releasing
Central American countries
criminals
were releasing criminals
into our country, including Mexico. By the way, that was objectively.
By the way, that was objectively true. Objectively true.
Objectively true.
Objectively true. That was objectively true. That was objectively true. It was objectively true.
True. So it's not so much.
It's not so much
Christians.
Oh, no. If you think Philadelphia did maybe
did that in 1980 with the marriage.
Philadelphia, because Philadelphia, a Cuban leader who ruled
Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro. Okay, Fidel
boat lift.
dealing with the Mary boat lift.
Mariel boat lift.
Mariel boat lift.
There have been many
There have been many
journalists, including CNN,
including CNN,
you used to work and be my colleague, that have tried to find evidence of that. There is no evidence that
there's no evidence.
Maduro was
releasing
people from insane asylum.
from insane what is it?
Asylums.
From insane asylums
Or jails,
or
like
jails,
Fidel Castro did do. This was made up, and we just can't, accept it
We just can't accept
without
it.
pushing back.
We know that
There's no evidence that releasing from insane already.
Asylums.
Or jails like Fidel did to. This was made up and we just can't accept it without pushing back, and we know that there were people
who were released from prison
released from
who were
prison
encouraged to come
who were encouraged
into
to
the
come
United
into the
States.
United States.
Mario,
It wasn't like there was a Mario,
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Vice
and
President.
it wasn't where it was.
It wasn't where
It's like
it
a
was like purposeful.
really open up
Relief,
the jails, open up the insane
open up the insane
asylums, and let
asylums.
people flood Florida.
Let people flood Florida.
Those care if we
I lived though in Miami. I lived though.
Lived through.
if you go, it may not have been
I lived through in Miami.
like Marielle,
If you go, it may not have been like Marielle.
but if you go back to the caravans that were
But if you go back to caravans that
happening in
were
22
happening in 2022,
23, we know that those things were funded. They were
we know those things were funded.
in some ways
They were in some way
supported by the government.
supported by the government.
So I don't know how you define
So I don't know how to define
support or not
or not
support,
support.
but if people are
But if the people
encouraged to come
are
into
encouraged
our
to come
country
to our
after
country
having spent time
after having spent
in
time
prison by their own government,
by their own
I
government,
think that's a problem.
I think that's a problem.
Just add
The
one.
vice president, she can't just add
You
one
do speak
thing
of
because you just speak
about
of
immigration
immigration
at length.
at length. At length, you speak for a long time.
Length.
At length.
In this book.
Sure.
And I
And I
believe as
believe
a
as a
Christian, I can
Christian,
tell my kids
I can tell my
why
kids
it's important to
why
have,
it's important to have borders.
get that.
I get that.
There are laws, there
There are
are
laws,
resources, I get
there are resources.
all that things.
I get all the things.
It's much harder to explain
It's much harder
when
to
I see someone
explain
dragged out of a
when I see someone
house
dragged out of the house or wrongly
taken to a
taken to a scene
thing that isn't a violent.
that isn't violent permanent. That is
It's a little more new.
it's a more
As a
nuanced,
Nuanced.
nuanced, 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 nuanced,
Nuanced.
nuanced.
parent to try to say when
I'm trying to say
someone's referred to
someone referred
as vermin or
verminer,
Vermin.
vermin,
Vermin.
vermin,
Vermin.
vermin, vermin,
Scum.
scum, vermin, scum, worry, scum, vermin, vermin, warmer, vermin. When
I teach them in school about people that have done that before.
before, but
This is different.
this is different.
It's very hard as a
It's very hard as a
or a
parent,
Christian
to
say both things.
say both things.
You say
And you actually say
in the book, you talk about this.
you talk about a struggle.
You talk about this struggle, this internal struggle. Can you talk about moral
You
trade?
talk about moral traits off. You talk about moral traits off. Moral traits off. Moral traits off. A hard choice where one good thing must be giving up for another. It's moral trade-offs. Moral trade-offs. It's moral trade-off.
The result in
favoring
a
a
strict migration
migration policy
without dehumanizing.
without dehumanizing anyone. So support strict immigration rules while still treating people with dignity. Dignity.
Dignity.
Dignity. Dignity.
Anyone. But listen, over 50 people
But listen, over 50 people
have died in ICE custody.
As custody. Custody. As custody. As custody.
ICE custody.
As custody being held.
There are thousands of children.
There's a thousand children.
6,200
6,200
are being held
6,200
in places like
that are being held in
daily detention
a daily detention center.
The people that have visited those
The people that have visited
detention centers.
detention center.
I don't know if you have.
I don't know if you have.
Talk about the subhuman,
subhuman,
infrahuman condition.
subhuman, and infrahuman, subhuman. We're bad below.
Infrahuman.
Conditions.
The lack of clean
The lack of clean
water, the lack of
medical, infrahuman, subhuman, infrahuman. We're crucial. Infrahuman, lack of medical
attention, the lack of education.
Lack of education.
I would urge you, as a Christian, and as a father, visit
visit
detention center
those detention centers
where the children are being held,
being
and make sure that
make sure that
live to the values that we hold and
that values like
this country.
So you guys have thrown a lot
So
of
you guys have thrown
at
out.
me. I see we got 30
Let's see, we got 30
seconds left here. But let me say, no,
But let me say,
One.
number one, I would like to pick
So long.
I'd like to pick up on this theme because I
I would like to pick up on this
think it's really important.
because I think it's really important.
We do have to strike a
We do have strike balance. We do have strike balance. Strike a balance. Strike a balance.
Strike a balance.
Strike a balance. Strike a balance.
balance, of course, between
between
enforcing our
enforcing our
laws. We don't want to dehumanize people.
We don't want to dehumanize people.
That is the balance.
That is the balance. Look,
law enforcement.
Law enforcement. What I would say about this
is always inherently.
Law enforcement is always inherently
not a very.
What you know this word? Okay, what does it mean?
Inherently.
This rule is inherently unfair. Inherently. Not
very pretty process, especially when you're dealing sometimes with violent people, people who are resisting arrest. Some of the people that I've been told by the media were completely peaceful, had never violated any laws. You actually look into the record and find out those people were actually being violent, or
those actually being violent.
They did have a criminal record. They had they have sex trafficking conviction.
Criminal records.
Had criminal records.
Majority of people.
So the majority of people.
ICE is round.
And ICE is rounding up
and taking
out
their homes from their families. They're separating families. They're using children as bait.
They're using children as a bait. The majority are not. But I can't respond to that. Let me just say it. Okay.
So you talk about.
So you talk about the children. Here's what
I'd say.
Here's what I would say. You're talking about children. Here's what I would say.
Do we know that during the last administration, we had tens of thousands of children who were sex trafficked by the cartel? Who were brought into our country in profoundly dangerous and predatory conditions.
Let's talk about this administration.
But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border,
you
invite that kind of conduct. But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border, you invite that.
You invite that kind of conduct. With some acts or behaves. His conduct was very rude. Conduct.
that kind of conduct. You think that our immigration
Using our immigration
policies are inhumane based on the reporting of one person with a political
with a political
bias.
bias.
What I'm telling you is that it's inhumane to allow cartels to sex traffic people across
our border.
And
But I will just hold on, please hold on.
Please hold on.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate.
Mr. Vice.
Appreciate. Okay, I'm done.